criminals are supposed to be clever masterminds, silent, calculated, and always one step ahead of the law. But what happens when the so-called master plan turns into the dumbest disaster you've ever heard? Imagine blowing up an ATM, not to steal the cash, but to completely destroy it. Picture a man walking into a store with a banana in his pocket, convinced the clerk would mistake it for a deadly weapon. From burglars stuck in chimneys to thieves live streaming their own crimes, these cases are so ridiculous, you'll wonder if they actually wanted to get caught. Welcome to the bizarre world where stupidity meets crime, the dumbest criminals in history explained. The ATM explosion fail. Our first criminal thought he had it all figured out. Why bother with safe-cracking skills when you can just use explosives? Late one night, a group of thieves targeted an ATM, believing that one well-placed blast would pop it open like a piggy bank. But instead of a jackpot, they got a disaster. The explosion was so powerful it shredded the machine into pieces, and with it every single dollar inside. Imagine spending weeks planning a heist, gathering tools, setting up the perfect timing, only to turn all the cash into worthless confetti. To make things worse, the blast was loud enough to alert the entire neighborhood and, of course, the police. By the time officers arrived, the criminals were standing in the middle of the wreckage with no money to steal and nowhere to run. It was the ultimate self-sabotage, proof that when stupidity meets crime, the only thing you truly blow up is your own plan. The banana gun robbery. If you've ever wondered how desperate or downright ridiculous a criminal can get, meet the man who tried to pull off a robbery with nothing more than a banana. Yes, a real banana. He shoved it into his pocket, shaped it like a gun, and stormed into a convenience store demanding cash. At first glance, maybe he thought fear would do the job. But here's the twist. The cashier wasn't fooled for a second. Instead of panicking, the clerk burst out laughing, realizing the weapon was something you'd normally find in the produce aisle. The robber tried to stay serious, shouting threats, but the illusion was over. Seconds later, police arrived and arrested him, banana still in hand. The irony? He could have bought an entire bunch of bananas with the money he now owed in fines. This case became legendary, not for cleverness, but for showing that sometimes the only thing deadlier than a crime is the stupidity behind it. The stuck-in-the-chimney bandit. Some burglars think breaking in through the front door is too risky, so they look for creative alternatives. But one thief took creativity a little too far. He decided to enter a house through the chimney, like a criminal version of Santa Claus. At first it might have seemed clever. No broken windows, no forced doors, just a sneaky slide down to the valuables. But reality quickly turned his genius idea into a nightmare. Halfway down, he became completely wedged, stuck between the narrow bricks. Hours passed as he struggled, calling for help, but the only ones who heard him were the very neighbors he was trying to rob. Eventually, firefighters arrived, not to rescue a victim, but to arrest a burglar caught in the act. Covered in soot, embarrassed and humiliated, this Santa gone wrong proved that sometimes the only gift crime delivers is jail time. The Facebook felon. If there's one golden rule for criminals, it's simple: don't brag. But one thief clearly missed the memo. After stealing electronics and cash, instead of laying low, he opened his phone, hit go live on Facebook, and proudly streamed himself showing off the loot. In the video, he laughed, flaunted the stolen money, and even bragged about how untouchable he was. What he didn't realize, among the dozens of people watching his live stream, were the local police. Within minutes, officers traced his location directly from the broadcast. The same phone he used to flex became his own tracking device. When the cops arrived, he was still on camera, shocked as his audience suddenly watched him go from criminal to captive. The irony was brutal. He wanted likes, shares, and followers, and he got them. Unfortunately, they all wore badges. The wrong bank robbery. Some criminals fail because of bad luck, others fail because of bad planning. And then there are those who fail before the crime even starts. One would-be bank robber stormed into a building, mask on, bag in hand, shouting demands for cash. The problem? The bank he chose had been shut down for years. The counters were empty, the vaults were gone, and the only people inside were workers renovating the place. Imagine his confusion when he realized there was literally nothing to steal. But his mistake didn't end there. The noise attracted nearby police officers, who entered to find the man standing awkwardly in the middle of an empty lobby, still demanding money that didn't exist. In the end, he didn't walk out with bags of cash. He walked out in handcuffs. This wasn't just a failed robbery. It was a crime against common sense, the evidence selfie. If bragging on Facebook wasn't dumb enough, one thief took self-incrimination to a whole new level. After breaking into a home and stealing jewelry, cash, and a brand new phone, he couldn't resist showing off his success. Instead of lying low, he used the stolen phone to take a smiling selfie with the stolen goods spread out on the bed behind him. But here's the kicker. That phone was still synced to the victim's cloud account. Every single picture he snapped automatically uploaded to the rightful owner's storage. Within hours, police had crystal clear evidence of not only who stole the items, but exactly what he took. By the time officers tracked him down, the thief looked more like an influencer than a criminal, except his content doubled as proof in court. In the end, he learned the hard way. Some selfies earn you likes, and others earn you a prison sentence. The wrong house robbery. Sometimes fate delivers the cruelest punchline. A burglar in the middle of the night picked what he thought was the perfect house to rob. Quiet neighborhood, lights off and no car in the driveway. He slipped inside, ready to score big. But there was one small problem. The house belonged to an off-duty police officer. The moment the thief crept through the living room, he found himself face to face with the homeowner, who just happened to have handcuffs within reach. No alarms, no chase, no backup needed. Justice was already at home. By the time local authorities officially arrived, the criminal was already restrained on the floor, still shocked that he had literally broken into the one place in town where he had zero chance of escape. The irony, out of hundreds of houses, he chose the only one with a cop inside. Talk about a door-to-door delivery, straight to jail. And there you have it, the Hall of Fame for history's dumbest criminals. From blasting ATMs into confetti, to waving bananas like weapons, to streaming their own arrests live on Facebook. These cases prove one simple truth: crime doesn't pay, but stupidity definitely goes viral. What's shocking is not that they got caught, it's how quickly they managed to catch themselves. While master criminals spend years plotting elaborate schemes, these amateurs couldn't even survive step one. They weren't outsmarted by high-tech police work or FBI task forces. They were undone by their own ridiculous decisions. And that's why these stories remain unforgettable. Because when stupidity meets crime, justice doesn't even need to try. So remember, the next time someone calls crime organized, just show them this video. These weren't criminal masterminds, they were criminal punchlines.